So, it's pencil time. The equipment. Apologies. Right, I need to chuck that out of the house. Yeah. Sorry about that. Right. So it's pencil time, and that means that all of the fine detail, that's what I'm going to be aiming for. So to do that, I've got my Polychromos and Faber-Castell pencils, and my faithful German sharpener, and my bin, which has already got rubbish in it. So there's going to be a lot of pencil sharpening. That is the main key here, is a sharp pencil will get you everywhere. If you let your pencils go blunt, they're not going to work half as well. And also it means that I'm not going to be able to get the detail. So you are going to hear a lot of pencil sharpening. But I'll try and keep the pencil sharpening brief. The colours that I'm using are going to be all sorts, from walnuts through to greys, blues, purples, blacks. I actually haven't quite decided what colours I'm going to go for. So, sharpening. Right, I think I'll start with this one actually. My lovely Polychromos I've had for a few years, which I've tried to make them last, and they're just about hanging in there. But in all honesty, I'm gonna have to go shopping soon. So, keeping a light hand, I'm just gonna start picking out key areas of detail. Now, unlike the markers, I can only soften these to a tiny amount. So when I'm making my marks with these, I've got to be a little bit more cautious. So that's one of the nice things about using markers, is that you can soften up your marks quite a lot. But I am literally using these pencils so that I can get that pinpoint detail. Actually, I put that pink aside, didn't I? And I'm going to need that. I'm going to also need a line of oranges. Oranges. Thing is, I don't want to go orange. I just want to go almost like a tan colour. This whole huge one down. Tans. The major problem is most of my tans are literally teeny weeny little stops. Oh, that's one. Come in. Don't even think of rolling off the table. That one. That's what I'm after. Right. Right, some more colours there. Now, because I've got the markers down, I'm very limited to layering on the pencil. So you could almost say that it's only a couple of layers that I'm going to be able to get down. So all of my pencil marks have to be quite right. I've got a putty rubber, but I'm only taking a tiny piece of the putty rubber off, not bringing the whole thing. For some reason this putty rubber is excessively dirty. It's not been anywhere to get dirty. Well, apparently it has. Right, bear with me, I'll find a clean end of a putty rubber. Right. So a little bit of the putty rubber, and I'm just going to push back that original pencil line. I don't mind if a little bit shows, but I don't want a lot to show. Especially that bit. Okay, let's just fold them back slightly. I'm just going to put a little bit of the lines back in with a very, very light pencil. I'm just going to add in a few of the dotties up here. I'm using a brown for this. I think this is, yeah, this is walnut. I've still got the paper tied down, just so that I've still got all of that control over it. I'm having to watch my pressure because of the way that the paper is now reacting. So with the little dots, I'm making sure that I am following the direction that they're angled in. And to get the white areas around them a bit whiter, I can either use the bleaching pen or I can use a white pen. So my options are still open. Now this area here changes colour into more of a red colour, so I'm thinking of applying, you know what, I can't even read these gold things. This colour. I actually can't read them, they're too shiny. It's not going to be that big a difference in the actual physical colour, but it'll be enough that you'll notice close up that there is a change of colour. I'm just making sure there's a little bit of this higher up so that it has a nice gradient. Where did I see? There's something here. Let's see. Right, the eye goes across. Right, yeah. About here. It's like a white patch. I'm going to bring that in. The only thing I'm finding with the blender, when it touches the colour pencil, it does seem to react. And these are oil-based ones, so that's quite an interesting little thing. But that's just refreshed that area, and that's a bit more correct to the design now. I think I've got, I think one of my pens must have leaked because I can feel it on my hands. So I'll just have to double check underneath all of them. Probably got a little puddle somewhere. Right, that one. Some of them I'm going to leave the marker to show through. It's just with key ones, so I'm just going to pick them out. Actually, this is just about the right colour, you know. This also, by picking up a couple of these slightly stronger, it's going to make the white stand out a little bit more as well. So it's quite beneficial in more ways than one. I mean, working the pencils over these markers, it's got a nice feel to it. Doesn't feel too slippery. So once this drawing's done, I know it's not going to be light fast. So it will be off to the printers, and he's going to squeak at me because this paper is definitely going to scan blue. But that's kind of why I pay him. So I'll hide behind the counter. Literally, he's got a massive, must be about a 4-foot counter. So I'm just going to hide behind it and explain. Oh, sorry, you've got a big cleaner upper. But that's what I'm thinking, if I put the branch in, that's going to take up a lot of the blue. So I can disguise a bit, and that's why I'm still thinking about doing a little bit of blue somewhere, but I'm not Not 100% sure. So what I may do is, once I get to a certain point, so say I get the branch done, I'm going to photocopy it and have a play around. And that way, if I don't like it, I've not written the original, I can have fun with the copy. But I can do several copies and have fun with several copies. And it just safeguards, because the worst thing is, if ever you do a really nice piece of artwork and then you do something that you think is going to look good and it goes wrong. And it's too far gone that you can't fix it. And you just think, oh my god, what did I do that? Whereas if you do all your experimenting on copy, there's loads of problems. I've had a lot of times when, say I've done a sketch that I've really liked, so I've drawn a creature or something like that, I've made a dragon or something, and I'm thinking, oh, how am I going to colour this? Quite often I'll copy the line drawing about 5-6 times, and then I'll just keep on colouring those until I find one that I really like. I rarely, in fact I don't think I really now ever use the originals to colour. The original stays as a black and white, and I just colour the copies. It also means that I can make any amendments to a copy and then test them out on the original. I mean, in fact, one of my drawings, the original I was happy-ish with, I won't say 100% happy, but I did some experimenting and actually ended up taking a copy, altering the copy, liked that, took a copy of that copy and went literally down the road with that. So had a copy of a copy as a copy, turned out to be my original design. So it's definitely worth just playing it safe sometimes. Where does that one go? That one goes up. I'm trying not to push too hard on this one. There's like a massive cluster higher up on the wings, so I'll just do some of the bigger ones first. Some of them have got a little bit of shadow underneath them, some of them don't, or it's like a little brown halo. But that's where, by having the marker underneath, I've got a base colour under there, so it's not just solid white under there. And that's why colours like the ivory as a base coat can be really handy, because it takes the starkness of the white out. Someone's putting it on the kettle. Hope they leave enough water in there for me. The amount of times I go down to the kettle and it's like someone's had the last cup full of water in there, and for some reason it's not a cheap kettle, but it takes absolutely forever to boil. And you kind of stood for 5 minutes waiting for it to boil. Someone's helping themselves into the bread bin. Now if the bread bin's been open, that means that it's my dad down there, because he always raids the bread bin. You think having a full din-dins would fill him up, wouldn't you? So, right, just found my cutter, which anything near the floor jumps out on me, seriously. Right, just try and map in this. I can use this red on several feathers, but I'm just trying to work out the best way to map it in without making the shadows too dark. Something that always fascinates me about birds' feathers, they're never just one colour, and the shapes vary so much. And I can come along with the greys and polish all of the grey marks up as well. So right now I'm just gently hopping from part to part. It means I don't get bored in one area. Whereas with the markers you need to really finish up one area before you go on to the next, and especially, well, it's easier to get a block done and then move on to another block, but if you try and do part and part, if the ink dries too fast and you want to work on wet and wet, you do lose that ability to a degree. I mean, you can reanimate them with lighter colours, but sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. That comes down to the paper that you use as well. So just always be aware of your cardstock and paper stock that you're using with your markers. Right, pencil's getting a bit blunt. Sharpening time. Up, down one. Too pink there, just noticed that. Might have to bring in my Posco into that bit. I made a slight mistake there, but I'm sure I can fix it. Well, there's a will, there's a way. At the moment there's so many little spottykins on here. There. Sorry about that. That's the sound of a Spectrum Illustrator pen hitting a wooden floor from a height of 2 and a bit foot. Actually, no, I meant that about 3 foot. Right, let's use dark tan kind of colour. This is just going to allow me to add in a little bit of the kind of orangey colours and just push them a little bit, but not too kind of garishly. This is where using the small circle kind of movements is really handy, because that will help give less of a harsh line. Actually, I want experimental time. Well, let's see what happens. Just picking up purple. Oh, let's clean that tip. Take the colour off, literally by lifting it off. Sometimes when you're bleaching back a really strong colour, when you get the colour on the tip of the marker, you need to literally find a piece of scrap paper and just quickly do a squiggle on there, and that just takes the colour off of that nib, so you're not going to be transferring the colour across. That's worked okay. I'm going to bring in a little bit of an orange, very, very light orange. Once again, just to make a couple of the areas a little bit more punchy. The thing is, when you get your photo, you will, how do I describe this? You'll notice a difference between the image that you see on the screen and the image, if you print it off, how that comes out. So if your screen is calibrated, don't ask me how to do that, then you should go by your screen colours. But if you think your printer is right, or close, then use your print copy. But just be aware that there will be, well, there can be, depending on also if you print via Photoshop setting, or if you print letting the printer take control of the setting. So it's just things to be aware of. I mean, if my printer was having a moment, this would have been a blue and purple spotty owl with lots of lines on it. Yeah, definitely clean your printer heads often. Don't let the gunk and the muck build up, because it doesn't do the printer any good. just need that and those reds. And once I get comfortable where things are mapped out, then I tend to spend a bit longer on each of those areas. It's just while I'm not 100% sure. And even at this stage, I'm still trying to work out where each piece goes. But I am determined not to overwork this image at all. So the whole image isn't going to be covered in the colour pencil. So I'm just going to pick up a couple of key areas. Lilac-y. Yes. Bring in some darker browns just to push out a couple of little bits. with greys, I don't want to go too dark with the cold greys, so I'd rather use a warm grey, preferably a sharp one, and then add in kind of purples to it, but reddish purples. Soft grey. Once again, this is a warm grey. It's quite a light one. Just does nicely for soft shadows. Now with colours this light, I'm pretty sure my printer guide can actually pick up some of these. He does use quite a state-of-the-art machine. In fact, his machine's just been swapped over because he rents the printers and the cutting machine and all of that. So he's got the most up-to-date machine available. So he should be able to pick out a lot of these colours. And because he's got up-to-date Photoshop and other editing software, I know that he's not going to allow that to go green or any other colour on the scan. Something that I am considering doing though for the future is to do colour swatches. So giving him a list of colours to match to, because currently what happens is I go over there, it's quite a trek actually for me. I waddle over there with my image and show it to him, see if he approves, because I do like the thing is I like his opinion. He's really, really good at knowing what's in and what's out. So we have a little chinwag and then discuss what the product's going to be. Is it going to be a card? Is it going to be a print? And it's always glossy prints, so French quality. And in all honesty, if you've got a drawing that you want to sell and you really, 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 really like it, and other people really, really, really like it, don't go down to Staples or your local print shop and get them to do it. Go and treat yourself to a proper French print. Now, glossy is one of the highest qualities you can get, and yes, you're going to pay a weeny bit extra for it. You should also at the same time be able to get it mounted into a mount board, and they look lush when they're like that. And most printers will have a choice of paper, so you can have like a watercolour paper normally, or the normal paper that they use. But I'd actually recommend it. The quality, when you see one of those prints, you just want to hug it. In fact, the first time I saw my first prints using a professional printer, I cried because I was just so amazed. I didn't actually think it was my own artwork. I was just like, whose drawing is this? It isn't mine. So yeah, save up the pennies and get a proper job. And the thing is, if you get your artwork printed really nicely, especially for things like this drawing that I'm doing that isn't going to be light fast, this original will fade. Even if I put it in an archival wallet, it's going to go and deteriorate over time. So that's where I'm going to go and get a glossy print, which is not going to fade so fast. In fact, I think they're pretty light fast. But once again, it'll be kept in an archival wallet, which will stop any acids or anything eroding at it. And if you take care of your prints, they can last a very, 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 very long time. And in all honesty, why shouldn't your hard work be shown in the best possible way? I mean, I won't do a show without a decent quality product. I do tend to do a few higher end shows, I'll admit, but the higher end shows demand a good quality product. So if I went to my local show and used a bad printer, one of which I do know, and that printer gave me poor quality image, so the image didn't match the original, or how can I put this, the paper used or the cardstock used was really scrappy, then it's an embarrassing situation, because people will pick up that product, they'll look at your pricing, because of course you go to a posh show, you price up to reflect the table cost, transport, all of those things, and the fact that you should be paying for a good quality product. And if you go in with a card that's cost you 50p to make and you're selling it at £2.50, and people see that the quality is not very good, nobody's going to buy it. But if they see that it's good quality, that's got nice prints on the back, a little mini message, then you're far more likely to make a sale. So it's something that everyone needs to just have a little thinky about. I mean, I've got a show in, oh gosh, let's see, not this weekend, next weekend. And it's in quite a high class area. The fact that Royal Family actually designed the area. And I can't go in there with cheap products. I mean, really, a couple of weeks ago I should have been off to my printers, but the weather's been so diabolical over here in the UK. With the pest from the west and the beast from the east, flooding, all sorts. I've not been able to get over to my printers. Because where he is, they flood out quite well. He's literally on the side of a river. Great place for a printers to be, on the side of a river, isn't it? It's a lovely place. And they've got a little wishing well, and they've got lovely tea rooms, so it's a really, really nice area. Just sometimes not convenient. So of course I've not been able to get all of the printing done that I have wanted. But I did my stock take a couple of mornings ago, and I've just about got what I will call a stable amount of stock. Yeah, that's just adding that orange in there. Now, what I'll do is, if I run out of stock on my show, then I'll have an email list, and if people are willing to part with an email, what I'll do is literally email address and say to them, the minute I get them in stock, I can send you one out and pay via PayPal. Or if you're willing to put 50% down, then I can send you one out, that sort of thing. There's a little bit of a kind of golden dusty bit along here. So I've still got my labels to do. And what have I got? I've got labels to do. I've got to find my safe, which has vanished. My safe is so safe that I actually don't know where it's safe. That's how safe it is. So I've got to get a float sorted out. Then I've got to make sure that my outfit fits, because for this show I need to look almost suited and booted to a degree. And the problem is, because I've been feeling very, 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 very depressed lately and struggling to deal with a few things, I've comfort eaten. And I put on a huge amount of weight, which I actually lost last month. I did so well. And then a few bad weeks at work, and that's it. I'm just kind of dive in the chocolates, swim around in chocolate, devour chocolate. So I'm desperately now, with a week to go, I've got to lose some weight to fit into my clothes. And I would have loved this image. Now, the more I work on it, the more I want this image actually at the show. But I know my printer guy I can't go up to him and say, here's an image, I need it by kind of tomorrow. I think I can't do that to him. He's got other people on the books. And it's not fair on his workload. Especially when this image is going to need a lot of editing, I fear. Actually, as a thought, I could do the branch with snow on. Turn it into a Christmas card. Idea. So that's where I'm going to take a copy of a copy and work on a copy. Oh, I like that. Snow's quite easy to draw because it's just greys and purples and blues. There is no such thing as white snow. It's like a polar bear isn't white. Well, not exactly white. They tend to be more cream. And then of course underneath the fur is black. Add a little bit of detail around there. Don't want that quite so harsh. Yeah, it's going to have to be postcode that bit. I've messed up. I've made a mess up there. I don't honestly think I'm going to be able to fix that quite so easily. There's actually a white bit just there, so let's take that blender. Let's turn that white bit white. There we go. But I don't want it pure white because actually on the drawing it's still got a little bit of orange. So that's just about right. Another handy thing to do apart from stepping back from a drawing, use your phone or your camera and take a photo. And by looking at it on a different screen, you'll see different levels of detail and you can actually spot if you've got any major bits to sort out. So, for example, you can see, was my live stream squiffed. So this I can zoom in on and I can say to myself, does that look like that? It does look slightly different, but that's quite handy to do. Right, just going to let that settle for 2 seconds. Okay, so I've stepped back, I've had a reassess, and I can just see a couple of areas that I just want to push a little bit more with the orange. In fact, I'm feeling much happier with this. The effect of the Illustrator and graphic markers is almost like, on this one it's almost like a watercolour, because I've kept to the light tones. It's something I love is the really light tones in markers. They're my favourite. I'm not keen on garish, bright, bold, fluorescents, things like that. Just give me a set of ivories and creams and pastel colours, really light pastel colours, almost see-through light pastel, and I'm happy. I was trying to do an illustration of a skeleton and I had to use really light greys and creams to get the bones looking right, but afterwards it was just like, yep, that's how to do it. So I think that's enough of the light orange, I think. Yeah, I think that should cover it because I've got the head sorted out. I've added in the bit here. This bit needs something in it. Okay, we'll have a think about that bit. Once again, let's step back, have a think, come back in. In the meantime, I'm just going to add, let's go for this one, sharpen pencil. Actually, tell you what we'll do. Let's bring that Posco in and just see what happens, because with some markers you can't go over them in a sense that the colour underneath shows through, but I think with this it should be okay. Yeah, that's looking okay. Right, so I'm just going to tidy up a little bit of the shadow. just softening out those marks. Yeah, that softens those up. Okay, back to the blender pen. I'll just give that a clean. Right, and time to bleach out a couple of bits. The bits at the top I'm not so worried about having completely bleached. Quite simply because they're not pure white in the image. Just seen a very, very silly mistake. I think I should be able to fix this one quite well. That's better. Rework. Sometimes you just have to put a lot of layers into stuff. Paper's getting a weeny bit too bouncy. those feet. Right, well, I think I'm going to call it Holtis on there. So I think that's going to be enough for tonight. But I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea of how you can use the markers, and also how you can actually use it with another media, so in this case colour pencils, because it's well worth a try. And the only way you'll know if it's going to be successful is by trying. So on the next video I'm probably going to start working on the tree branch, and then I'll come up and clean the owl and just do the final bits on that, so do the feet and whatnot. But yep, hope this has given you some ideas to go and play with and have a practice and have some fun. So till next time, take care, all the best, and happy drawing to you all.